Everyone in the town of Blackridge knew one rule that had been repeated for generations. Never go near Willow Cemetery after midnight. It wasn't just a warning parents told their children. It was a rule people followed because of the stories, the disappearances, and the things seen moving between the graves. Willow Cemetery had been there for over 200 years. The oldest graves were so worn down. Names carved into the stone had almost completely faded away. Moss covered most of the tombstones. The iron gate at the entrance had rusted so badly that it creaked loudly every time the wind touched it. During the day, it looked like any other old cemetery. But at night, the place felt different. People who lived near the hill claimed they heard whispers drifting through the fog after midnight. Others swore they had seen shadows walking slowly between the graves, even when there was no one there. Most people ignored the stories, but 3 friends decided they wanted to prove the town was wrong. Their names were Daniel, Marcus, and Tyler. They had grown up hearing the same legends as everyone else. But unlike the rest of the town, they didn't believe any of it. To them, Willow Cemetery was just an old graveyard, with an overactive imagination attached to it. One night, just before midnight, they made a plan. They would enter the cemetery, film everything with a camera, and upload the footage online to prove the place wasn't haunted. At exactly 12:15 in the morning, their car stopped at the bottom of the hill leading up to the cemetery. The road was empty. No streetlights. Only the pale glow of the moon lighting the path ahead. Daniel grabbed the camera. Marcus took to flashlights. Tyler laughed nervously as he looked up at the tall iron gate. "Still think this is a good idea?" he asked. Daniel smirked. "Relax. It suits the graveyard." Marcus pushed the gate open slowly. The rusted metal screamed as it moved. The sound echoed through the silent trees. For a moment, none of them spoke. It felt like the entire place had noticed they had arrived. They stepped inside. The ground was uneven, covered with patches of dead grass and cracked stone paths. Daniel pointed the camera forward as they walked deeper into the cemetery. At exactly 12:23 a.m., he said quietly, "We are officially inside Willow Cemetery." The air felt colder the further they walked. A thin fog had started forming along the ground, slowly drifting between the tombstones. Marcus shined his flashlight across the graves. Names, dates, symbols carved into stone. Some of the graves were over 100 years old. Others were so damaged they looked like they could collapse. "See," Daniel whispered. "Nothing creepy," Tyler nodded. But something about the place felt wrong. The wind had completely stopped. There were no insects, no animals, no sound at all. Just silence. Then Marcus suddenly stopped walking. "Did you guys hear that?" Daniel lowered the camera slightly. "Hear what?" Marcus turned slowly, scanning the darkness behind them with his flashlight. "I thought I heard footsteps." Tyler laughed. "That was probably you walking." Marcus frowned. "No, it sounded like someone behind us." Daniel turned the camera toward the path they had just come from. Empty, nothing but fog drifting slowly. "Happy?" Daniel said. Marcus hesitated. "Yeah, probably nothing." They kept walking deeper into the cemetery. The graves became older the further they went. Some had strange symbols carved into them that none of them recognized. Tyler suddenly pointed toward a tall stone monument. "Hey, what's that?" They approached it slowly. It was a massive gravestone unlike the others, taller than a person. The name carved into it was barely readable. But one thing was clear. The grave had no death date, only a name. Daniel leaned closer to read it. Then something strange happened. The camera screen flickered. Just for a moment. Daniel frowned. "Did you see that?" Marcus stepped closer. "Your camera just glitched." Daniel shook the camera lightly. The screen returned to normal. "Probably just the cold," he said. Then Tyler whispered something quietly. "Guys." Marcus turned toward him. "What?" Tyler's flashlight was pointing toward a group of graves behind them. His voice trembled slightly. "I swear something just moved over there." Daniel turned the camera toward the graves. At first, nothing. Then the fog shifted, and for just a split second, a dark shape moved between two tombstones. All three of them froze. Marcus whispered, "Tell me that was just a fog." No one answered. The shape had disappeared, but the feeling of being watched suddenly became overwhelming. Daniel slowly stepped forward. "Hello," his voice echoed across the cemetery. No response. Tyler grabbed Marcus's arm. "I don't like this. Let's go." But before anyone could move, they heard it. A single footstep. Behind them, slow down heavy, crunching against the gravel path. All three turned around instantly. The flashlight beams cut through the fog. Nothing. The path was empty, but the fog ahead of them started shifting again. Not drifting, moving, like something was walking through it. Daniel's breathing grew heavier. "Okay, that's not funny anymore," Marcus whispered. "Run." Suddenly the camera glitched again. This time the screen filled with static for several seconds. When the image returned, something was standing between the graves. Far away. A tall figure. Completely still. Its shape was barely visible through the fog. But it was definitely there. Watching them. Tyler screamed, "Go!" All three of them turned and ran toward the gate. Their flashlights bounced wildly across the graves as they sprinted across the uneven ground. Behind them, footsteps. Fast. Getting closer. Daniel kept the camera pointed behind him as he ran. The fog twisted violently through the cemetery. The figure was closer now. Much closer. And it wasn't walking anymore. It was gliding. Moving unnaturally fast between the graves. Marcus tripped over a cracked tombstone and fell hard. The camera swung wildly as Daniel stopped. "Get up! Get up!" Marcus scrambled to his feet. The footsteps behind them stopped. Silence returned again. Tyler looked back slowly. The figure was gone. Completely gone. They stood there breathing heavily. Marcus whispered, "I think we lost it." Then Tyler's flashlight flickered, and a voice whispered from the darkness, right behind them, "You shouldn't have come here." The camera fell to the ground. The recording continued, but the screen showed only the fog drifting slowly through the graves. For several long seconds, nothing happened. Then the sound of footsteps returned. Slow, dragging, approaching the camera. The fog thickened around the lens. And finally, a tall shadow passed directly in front of the camera, blocking the moonlight. The footage ended at exactly 12:47 a.m. The next morning, a local farmer found the camera, lying in the middle of Willow Cemetery. The police searched the entire area for hours. They found footprints, broken flashlights, and signs that something had been dragged across the ground. But they never found Daniel, Marcus, or Tyler. The camera footage was the only evidence left behind. And even stranger, when investigators reviewed the recording, they noticed something no one had seen before. At the very beginning of the video, when the three friends first walked through the gate, a shadow was already standing between the graves, watching them. waiting, like it had known they were coming. And according to the oldest records in Black Ridge, the name on the giant gravestone in the center of Willow Cemetery belonged to someone who had been buried there in 1823, a man the town believed had never truly died. They say his grave was sealed to keep something inside. But if the grave had no death date, that could only mean one thing. Whatever was buried in Willow Cemetery might still be there, waiting for the next visitors. And if you ever find yourself near that hill after midnight, you might notice something moving slowly through the fog, watching, waiting, just beyond the graves.